The Appalachian Mountains, a place of stark beauty, rich history and hard lives. For generations, these mountains have provided livelihoods and fueled a nation's growth. But beneath the surface, a dangerous truth lies hidden. Coal, the lifeblood of this region, comes at a steep price. The pre-dawn darkness shrouded the Coal Mountain mine in Wyoming County, West Virginia. A chill hung in the air, clinging to the rugged terrain. The familiar hum of machinery echoed through the valleys, a constant reminder of the industry that defined this place. But on this night, the mountain held its breath. Tragedy was about to strike. In the heart of this unforgiving landscape, a fatal fall awaited. A fall that would claim the life of a man, shake a community, and expose the hidden costs of coal. This is the story of that fall, a tragic reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present dangers faced by those who work in the shadow of the mountain. This is the story of Virgil Paynter. Virgil Paynter was a man of the mountains. His life was a tapestry woven from the fabric of Appalachia. Hard work, resilience, and a deep connection to the land ran through his veins. He knew the risks that came with mining, but he also knew the importance of this work. Virgil was a veteran excavator operator. He had recently started a new job at the Coal Mountain mine. Life had thrown him its share of challenges. He was a father, a grandfather, a friend. His presence was a source of strength and comfort. He had a quiet demeanor and a work ethic that was unmatched. His hands were a testament to his dedication. But on that fateful night, Virgil's life was tragically cut short. His story speaks to the human cost of an industry. It's a story that demands to be told, a life that deserves to be remembered. The Coal Mountain mine was a scar upon the landscape, a testament to the insatiable appetite for energy. Towering high walls exposed seams of coal that fueled power plants and industries. Massive machinery rumbled across the terrain, extracting the black gold. The mine was a dangerous place, a labyrinth of steep slopes and heavy equipment. The air was thick with coal dust, a constant reminder of the risks. Miners worked long hours in challenging environments, dependent on safety protocols. For CM Energy operations, safety was paramount, at least on paper. They had protocols and training programs in place, but somewhere along the line, those commitments were failing. The pursuit of profit had created an environment where shortcuts were taken. The Coal Mountain mine was a ticking time bomb. The warning signs were there, whispers of danger carried on the wind. But on that fateful night, as Virgil Paynter worked, the mountain was ready to collect its due. CM Energy Operations LP. A name synonymous with energy production, a giant in the world of coal. Founded on the backs of hard-working miners and the rich seams of Appalachia. The company's corporate headquarters, gleaming towers of glass and steel. Executives made decisions that impacted thousands. Production quotas, safety regulations, profit margins. But down in the mines, a different reality existed. Coal Mountain, a small cog in a vast machine. The mine had been in operation for decades, but the risks were mounting. Years of blasting had scarred the landscape, yet the pursuit of profit continued. CM Energy had a history of shortcuts and lives lost. The Coal Mountain mine had seen its share of scrutiny over the years. Inspectors from the Mine Safety and Health Administration, MSHA, had visited the site on numerous occasions. From inadequate ventilation to faulty equipment, from improper blasting procedures to a lack of proper training, each violation told a story of shortcuts taken and safety measures ignored. CM Energy paid the fines, implemented corrective actions, and continued its operations. The cycle, it seemed, was unending. Profit over people. The miners had little recourse. They could speak up, report violations, risk their jobs for the sake of safety. But in a region where work was scarce, silence often seemed like the only option. And so, the violations continued, the fines accumulated, and the mountains silently bore witness to the human cost of coal. May 15th, 2024. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the coal mountain mine. For Virgil Paynter, it was the start of another night shift. He arrived at the pre-shift meeting, his weathered face illuminated by the harsh glare of the floodlights. The air crackled with the hum of machinery and the murmur of tired voices. James Tackett, the evening shift foreman, ran through the night's tasks. His words hung in the air, a mix of technical jargon and blunt instructions. Safety, as always, was mentioned. Paynter, a veteran of countless shifts, listened intently. The familiar routine provided a sense of normalcy. Miners climbed aboard their assigned machines, the roar of engines breaking the silence. Paynter settled into the cabin of his excavator, a hulking Caterpillar 374F. He ran through his pre-operational checks. The excavator responded with a reassuring growl. Paynter adjusted his hard hat and eased the machine forward. The mountain, it seemed, awaited. As the night wore on, a thick fog began to settle over the coal mountain mine. Visibility deteriorated rapidly, reducing the world to a hazy tableau of muted lights and distorted shapes. Paynter, perched high in the cabin of his excavator, felt a growing unease. The fog, a regular visitor, was an unwelcome guest, a harbinger of danger. The foreman dismissed it as a minor inconvenience. The pressure to maintain production often overshadowed safety concerns, and so he pressed on, his unease growing with each passing moment. The DC-8. A Williamson bench, a narrow strip of land carved into the mountainside, was Paynter's assigned work area for the night. It was a treacherous location, a precarious ledge bounded by a steep high wall on one side and a sheer drop-off on the other. The bench, originally 165 feet wide, narrowed to a mere 54 feet at its far end, leaving little margin for error. Paynter's task was to clear the bench of overburden, the layers of rock and soil that hid the valuable coal seams below. But the encroaching fog, a silent saboteur, was disrupting their rhythm, turning their carefully choreographed movements into a dangerous gamble. As darkness deepened and the fog thickened, visibility continued to deteriorate. The headlights of their machines, usually beacons in the night, were rendered almost useless, their beams swallowed by the swirling mist. The edge of the Highwall, a constant threat, became a blurry, undefined line in the hazy landscape. He was pushing the limits, racing against the darkness and the encroaching fog, unaware that he was heading towards a point of no return. It was nearly 1:45 a.m. when Paynter's excavator encountered an immovable obstacle. A massive rock, 17 feet long, 14 feet wide and 8 feet high, lay embedded in the earth. He radioed Harris, requesting assistance. The two men devised a plan. Harris would push the rock while Paynter would lift and guide it, but the fog had other plans. The air crackled with the whine of hydraulics and the roar of engines. The fog, like a predator sensing an opportunity, was closing in. The air crackled with tension as Paynter maneuvered his excavator, its massive arms straining against the weight of the stubborn rock. Harris, his bulldozer, a dim silhouette in the swirling fog, radioed instructions. Paynter, his brow furrowed in concentration, adjusted the excavator's controls with practiced precision. The rock, yielding grudgingly to their combined efforts, shifted slightly. But the fog, an insidious deceiver, had begun to play tricks on Paynter's senses. The ground, weakened by years of mining and obscured by the swirling fog, gave way beneath the weight of the massive machine. Time seemed to warp as the earth crumbled beneath the excavator's tracks. A sickening lurch, a heart-stopping jolt, and then freefall. Paynter, trapped in a steel coffin, was tossed violently. The excavator tumbled, gathering momentum with each rotation. The fog muffled the sickening crunch of metal against rock. Harris felt the ground tremble beneath his tracks. He strained to see through the fog, a nameless dread gripping his gut. James Tackett, the evening shift foreman, was making his rounds, his pickup truck bouncing along the uneven terrain, when the frantic call came over the radio. Harris relayed the horrifying news. Paynter was gone, his excavator vanished into the fog-shrouded abyss. A chill ran down Tackett's spine. He slammed the truck into gear, its headlights cutting through the fog as he raced towards the DC-8A Williamson bench, summoning the mine's emergency response team. As he approached the bench, the eerie silence that hung in the air sent a shiver down his spine. He grabbed his hard hat and flashlight and cautiously approached the edge of the precipice. Below, the 328 Alma pit lay hidden beneath a thick blanket of white. He called out for Paynter, his voice a hoarse whisper swallowed by the vastness of the pit. Silence. Tackett scrambled down the treacherous slope, his flashlight beam cutting through the fog, searching for any sign of life. The air was thick with the smell of diesel fuel and disturbed earth. He spotted a crumpled heap of yellow steel at the bottom of the pit. Tackett approached cautiously, his flashlight illuminating the horrifying details, and then he saw him. Paynter's limp body lay sprawled on the ground, his lifeless eyes staring vacantly into the fog. Tackett checked for a pulse. Nothing. The fog, a silent witness to the tragedy, seemed to press in closer, amplifying the finality of the moment. Paynter's story, a tragic reminder of the human cost of coal, was over. The fog clung stubbornly to the Coal Mountain mine as investigators arrived. The first rays of dawn cast an eerie glow over the scene, illuminating the wreckage. Somber faces gathered at the edge of the abyss. The MSHA team began piecing together the events that led to Virgil Paynter's death. It was a search for answers, a quest for accountability. Michael Keane, a veteran inspector, took charge, his gaze sweeping over the wreckage. Each accident was a stark reminder of the human cost of this industry. Keane briefed his team, outlining the initial steps of the investigation. They would secure the scene, interview witnesses, and document every detail. The truth, buried beneath layers of speculation, was their ultimate goal. Investigators fanned out, flashlights cutting through the fog, searching for answers. Every shard of metal, every tire track held potential secrets. They photographed the wreckage, the twisted metal, a stark reminder, measuring distances, collecting samples, documenting every action. The fog lingered, a silent observer to their efforts. A disturbing pattern emerged, a history of warnings ignored and risks downplayed. The MSHA team widened their lens, examining the safety culture at the Coal Mountain mine. Inspection reports revealed serious violations, real dangers belied by bureaucratic terms. They found inadequate training, faulty equipment, and a culture prioritizing production over safety. Coal Mountain was a symptom of a systemic problem where profit trumped safety. Keane knew Virgil Paynter's death was a preventable tragedy, a result of systemic failures. The investigation evolved into an indictment, exposing the hidden costs of coal. The investigation pointed to a root cause both simple and profound, a failure of imagination. CM Energy failed to anticipate the risks, particularly the dangers posed by frequent fog at Coal Mountain Mine. It was a failure of imagination, a blindness to the obvious that had tragic consequences. His death was a stark reminder that safety required constant vigilance and adaptability. In the wake of the tragedy, CM Energy pledged to implement sweeping changes at the Coal Mountain Mine. Their ground control plan was revised, reflecting lessons learned from Virgil Paynter's death. New protocols mandated additional safety checks, reduced speeds, and enhanced communication. Training programs emphasized situational awareness and risk assessment. A memorial to Paynter was erected, a vow to never forget the lessons learned. The true measure of change would be found in the day-to-day operations of the mine. Virgil Paynter's story, a tragedy etched against the backdrop of the Appalachian Mountains, is not an isolated incident. It is a stark reminder of the unseen costs of progress, the human toll exacted in the pursuit of energy and economic growth. The coal mining industry, for all its contributions to our nation's development, has long been plagued by accidents, each one a preventable tragedy that leaves behind shattered lives and a legacy of grief. The relentless drive for efficiency, the pressure to meet production targets, and the inherent dangers of working in a hazardous environment create a volatile mix, a recipe for disaster that often prioritizes profit over people. Safety regulations, though essential, are often reactive, implemented in the wake of tragedy, a somber acknowledgement of lessons learned too late. The true measure of progress, however, should not be measured in tons of coal extracted or profits generated, but in lives saved, in the well-being of those who risk their lives to fuel our nation's energy needs. Virgil Paynter's death, like those that came before him, serves as a poignant reminder that the pursuit of progress must be tempered with compassion, that the lives of those who labor in the shadows of the mountains matter. It's a reminder that safety is not simply a matter of following rules and regulations, but requires a fundamental shift in mindset, a recognition that every miner deserves to return home safe at the end of each shift. The mountains, silent witnesses to generations of sacrifice, hold the stories of countless miners who toiled and perished in their depths. Their stories, often untold, deserve to be heard, their sacrifices remembered, their lives honored not just in words but in actions that prioritize their well-being. The fog that shrouded the Coal Mountain mine has lifted, but the lessons from Virgil Paynter's death resonate. His story is a call for vigilance and accountability in mining. It urges innovation and empathy for miners. Honoring Virgil Paynter requires a collective commitment to safety. At HackLab, we are committed to developing advanced technology solutions designed to prevent workplace accidents before they happen. Our brand, TrackR, is trusted by leading companies across industries to enhance safety and mitigate risks. For more information, reach out to us at sales@hacklab.solutions.